Guys, what's going on? Somewhere Del Piso back once again with yet another video in a wonderful space too. Very charming neighbors on our right over here. Sarcasm. Anyway, what we're gonna do in this video today is going to be a video game character analysis from yet another video game that I spoke about earlier on the channel. Right, we spoke earlier, the character in question, or the character that I spoke about, was Sane Hanekoma from the game The World Ends With You. We're gonna, give a little synopsis of the game right after I introduce the character that I'm going to talk about, which I think we all should use as some sort of role model for how to be and how to act in this day and age. The character that I'm talking about is Minamimoto Sho, right? Anyone who played this game automatically knows that this character, I think he's the fan favorite chosen in multiple polls about this game, and we all know why if you've played the game. This guy is not only a genius, it's very funny as well. He has very, very iconic lines. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get right into it. So The World Ends With You, essentially it is a game that has to do with individuals that have died. When they die, when people die, they come from the real ground, RG, to the UG, underground, and they get involved in something called the Reaper's Game. The Reaper's Game is facilitated by, of course you could deduce, Reapers, right? Which are individuals that have also died in the past, but then have obtained a couple of spiritual powers in order to govern this game. The game takes the course of over 7 days, a week, and in this game, in the week, you're supposed to avoid getting erased. When you are erased, your existence is completely destroyed, nullified, obliterated. And the main character, Neku Sakuraba, well, we find out that he is he was placed in this game unwillingly, and he was actually a proxy for the composer, which is the god of this game. This god wanted to destroy, the game, by the way, takes place in Tokyo. The composer wanted to destroy Tokyo because he felt that people have gone wayward with their beliefs, and then the independency and creativity of the city has disappeared. I'm going to sort of correct the summary that I made in the last video in this video, because I thought Sane Hanekoma was someone that made a deal with the composer in order to remain the composer's hand in immediately destroying the city, instead of conducting a Reaper's Game that I think took place over the course of 3 weeks, using Neku Sakuraba as his proxy. The person that made that deal, in fact, was Megumi Kitaniji, which was the acting conductor, right, which is below the composer of the game for 3 weeks, because he loved Shibuya so much. He believed that people had the capacity for change, and even though he was one of the primary antagonists of the video game, he was actually trying to make the composer hold his hand back from destroying Shibuya automatically. Right? Of course, the game ends. Neku Sakuraba was able to change, right? Being directly influenced by the energy of the proxy, by the energy of the composer. And then, of course, the composer stayed his hand. What does Sho Minamimoto have to do with this, right? This is one of my favorite characters of all time. This guy was a Reaper. He is this individual that loves math. As we know, if we play the game, we already know his quotes. So Katoa. Inverse matrix. Use zeta sons of digits, so zeta slow. This character, not only, he's not a solipsistic, he's not prideful or greedy by any means. He is just an individual that is a genius at mathematics, at mathematical edicts, processes, procedures, and he was the acting, I believe, game master, which is an individual that is meant to give out missions to the various players of the week. They're under the conductor in the Reaper's Game, and he was a game master for one time, and I think his initial plan was to use the game master role in order to find a way to usurp the composer, which is the god of the game, right? What ends up happening is that he ends up losing in his week because, of course, the main character, plot armor. And then what eventually happens, I think he gets revived, right? Or no, he utilized the help of Sane Hanekoma creating a taboo noise sigil. He was able to regenerate his body due to noise. Noise is like the creatures in the game, has to do with a lot of the negative thoughts, the basis of which are the negative thoughts from the individuals around the, in Tokyo, that were manifested as creatures and that exist on the underground, which is parallel to the real ground, which is the real world. And he used that noise to create a new body as he continued on his path to try to usurp the role of the composer. He ends up dying at the end of the first The World Ends With You. There's another one, World Ends With You. He gets revived by one of the Reapers, and he is still on that mission. Of course, the end of the game culminating in him obtaining the pin that is able that gives him the ability to turn back time. There was a lot of stipulations with that. Every time you use that pin, the noise and all the aggregate thoughts and imaginations from that point in time becomes junk, but still exists in a parallel dimension. And at the end of the Neo World Ends With You, this spoiler alert, the main character and his friends end up battling this noise, right? Battling this combined form of this noise, which was this huge phoenix. End up defeating the phoenix, but Minamimoto was paying attention the whole time, because if you are a mathematical genius, this is just what you do, right? And he was able to go into a parallel reality to take the pin from Rindo, and then he was able to use it multiple times, accumulate the junk noise, and then put all of that noise into his vessel. At least this is the theory I have for how he became so powerful. So this guy and he's still alive. He's still alive, and he's still on track to usurping the composer. Why is it that we must, as individuals on semen retention, being celibate, eschewing the things of the modern world, eschewing all belief systems, why should we take up after this magnanimous, mathematical, powerful individual, Sho Minamimoto? You see, Sho Minamimoto, he was an individual, even though he was on the side of evil, right? He was still not fighting alongside, he was only fighting alongside them for personal gain, in order to find to liberation, or find a path to become the composer, to exert his own rule and conditions and mathematical edicts upon the systems of the real ground and the underground. You see, this guy, I mean, of course, listen, everyone that thinks that they should be king, anyone that thinks that they should be a leader or president of some sort, you have to give them kudos, because they actually believe that they could create a completely new system, right? Beneficial to all souls, or have an effect on souls one way or another. Sho Minamimoto, why we should take after this ultimate individual is because, well, number one, he knows math. Anything in this world can be explained, to the falling of the dead leaves of the trees onto the floor, even when the burning bush in the chapter of Exodus in the Old Testament, to Krishna influencing Arjuna. All of those things can be explained through mathematics. This man, Sho Minamimoto, albeit in a fictional game, right, that explains a lot about this physical reality, right, and the metaphysical reality. It explains that he understands intuitively so much about the processes and the trajectory and directions of all religions, all of these schools of thought. It will do, naturally, we need to get on it, right? If we're not going to study the Quran, if we're not going to study the Torah, if we're not going to study these things, that's cool, that's fine. Go into mathematics, understand the nature of this reality and of this universe. Everything can be explained through numbers. I'm going to tell you something that maybe makes me a little connected to the ways of Sho Minamimoto. When I was younger and I began on this journey, I was in college, right? I was studying a little bit. I had a best friend at the time, and we were trying to understand the world around us. We got into zodiacs. I was on the whole idea of looking at people's natal charts and trying to understand their personalities that could be gleaned from this bit of information through the analysis of their natal charts, right? And then I slowly got into numbers. I realized that there was a number that was prevalent in my whole midst, that presented itself in various places all over the world when it meant certain things. 13, that number 13, the auspicious number that was all over the US dollar, right? Of course, citing a connection to secret societies, Freemasons, that have created the foundations of this society and continue to rule through various sects and secret societies till this day. I hate the number because I don't want any connection with secret societies. Information that I give to you will always be given to you. You will not have to join some group, do a little dance, burn some candles, eat some kids, and drink blood in order to get this information. I will tell it to you for free. It doesn't matter, right? That's why first of all, I realized that 13 is popping up all around my midst. The number 12, the number 7, all over the Bible. A person could stumble 6 times, but he gets up the 7th time, right? He will get cursed 7 upon 7 upon 7 times, 7-fold. I realize that there is a consistent pattern of the application of these numbers in everything that we do. There's a duality in everything. There's the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. 4 seasons come in 4s, right? There are quarters come in 4s naturally, right? Because they're splitting things up into 4s. I've realized a lot of this stuff, and I started to make rules and sort of attach meanings and significances, isolate of any numerological study or knowledge, I started to make connections about the significance of certain numbers in our midst and what they possibly mean when they are presented. I used to even go so far as to analyze time. I looked at what the watch said. Like, for instance, it's 12:56. I made a deduction that nothing could be greater than 13, because before I understood and made the connections between the number 13 and secret societies, I hollowed the number 13. I thought it was important. And I said, okay, as we are counting the numbers singly on your clock, like I said, it is 12:56 right now, PM. I would break it down like, okay, I'll count the big numbers first. 5 and 6, 11, plus 2, 13, minus 1, that'll be 12, right? I would never go past 13, like I said. And then, of course, because it's 12, I would create some sort of significance or some meaning attached to that number, and how it applies to me and in conjunction with the individuals in my midst at that particular moment. I was doing all of this before any sort of studying of numerology, numbers, religion, anything. Clearly indicative, perhaps I do have some modicum of genius like Sho Minamimoto, albeit he may be a fictional character, right? Doesn't matter. I tried to impart this information to my peers, my family. My family rejected me, right? They pretended that they did not know what the hell I was talking about. My dad and mother were split. My mom lives in Portugal. My dad lives in London. I talked to them both about this stuff. They both pretended that they didn't know what I was talking about. They got silent, right? Obviously indicative, we spoke about this on the channel, there is a prevalence of secret societies in our midst. It doesn't matter what religion, what God they claim they serve. They're all serving the same all-consuming evil entity that is meant to take your soul and control it, to control the direction of your incarnations. We know this, right? I understood this already. But it just was a little disheartening that I didn't really have any outside confirmation of the numerological theories that I was coming into as a young man without any knowledge. Let's reel it back into The World Ends With You. Sho Minamimoto is an individual not only understanding of mathematics, but he understands the direction of the rules and the trajectory of the rules and the energies in the real ground and the UG. His plan to become the composer, of course, is highly ambitious. I think that it's not necessarily unhealthy for individuals like ourselves to have such a fortuitous goal, right? To try to become the best you can, or try to become a leader, right? Try to become some sort of policymaker, because we believe that the things that we do to ourselves, like in terms of the spiritual practices, health practices and whatnot, physical practices, we believe that we could communicate this way, or this idea, to individuals in our communities, right? But there needs to be an understanding. This is what Minamimoto understood as well, that there's going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be a lot of ways and blockages to your alleged rightful throne, right? Of whether it be the composer in his case, or our various very, very ambitious goals in our case. What we must do, right, as individuals on Senior Intention, gentlemen, right, is to stay on the practice. We have to stay celibate, we have to stay powerful, stay completely strong, and understand mathematics. Do your homework, do your research. There's a lot of theories out and about that individuals are not understanding that will continuously propel itself, that will show itself in reality. There are philosophical edicts that can be drawn and gleaned from mathematics if we only understood not only where to look, but how to look. Pythagoras, right? Pythagoras was this very, very powerful. Of course, he's in charge of the Pythagorean theorem. What is it? A plus B equals C, or A squared plus B squared equals C squared? I forget. One thing about Pythagoras is that this man was on semen retention as well. In addition to, he had a camp teaching individuals about mathematics and all his theories that he knew. And he said, the moment you release, right, as a male, if you release, you're edging, you're not on semen retention of any sort, you are not part of the camp anymore, and you will not be allowed to understand mathematics. The longer you go on this practice, you get much more of an intuitive or unconscious connection to divine knowledge, not things on how to take care of your baby when it's 2 years old, or how to manipulate individuals into being your friends, or how to get a Tesla car to run faster than a BMW. Not that stupid knowledge that all these individuals hallow, but knowledge of Pythagoras, knowledge of Sho Minamimoto. Mathematical divine knowledge, so you're able to glean truth from the things of this world. Nothing else matters. Families do not matter. Your well-being, of course, needs to be held sacrosanct insofar that it follows the objective reality. And of course, it's predicated upon the pillars of the new mathematical knowledge of your, that seems like there was a car crash. Interesting. Your aura, your energy. I don't know if I caused it. I probably, maybe, I don't know. There's a crazy car crash. It's nuts. Let me show you guys. I don't know if you could see it. Anyway, final thoughts of this video, guys. Understand mathematics to the T. Understand objective knowledge. Understand the reason why 13 is so worshipped in this society. Understand why 7 is all over the Bible. Understand why there are hated numbers. Understand why there are worship numbers. Understand all of this. Eschew family. Eschew being selfish and bringing life into this world, even though we're in the midst of overpopulation, right? Has nothing to do with Minamimoto, but follow his edicts, follow his rule, follow his way, and we will become mathematicians. We will become individuals that are able to use our power for benevolence, right? For kindness, for empathy, because we are tired of this current system, as Sho was in his current game, and that in the fictional game, The World Ends With You, and we are seeking to change it, not by their way, casting war and separating religion by religion, even though they came from the same book, right? Rather, we get in touch with divine knowledge. We understand exactly what we're meant to do, unlocking our code, right? Our creative code in our DNA, our genetics. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you came from. We can all have access to this knowledge. You don't need to be part of the world in order to get access to that knowledge. And with that being said, that is all I have to say to you guys today. If you guys enjoy that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. Don't ever let this place get you down, ever. Be like Sho. Sho was hated in his game, not only by the individuals, the protagonists, but by the antagonists, because he was a rogue unit. He was a lone wolf that utilized his superior mathematical knowledge in order to put himself at a vantage point in understanding and manipulating the real ground and the underground in ways that he saw fit. We do not know Minamimoto's ambition. We don't know, but we are going to figure it out. I'm sure the next game is probably going to give us some sort of look into his past. Maybe there's a loved one. Maybe there's an idea he has about the way things are supposed to be, and this is why he went on this ruthless crusade of trying to become composer. We're gonna figure it out, but I'm saying this: stay ambitious, gentlemen, stay on semen retention, stay celibate, stay away from the things of this world. All of these beautiful riches. I'm in some fancy neighborhood. I don't even know the name of this neighborhood. I really don't. But all of these fancy things don't mean a goddamn thing. They never did. You are just gonna belong to this world and you're gonna worship the things thereof, and you will never ascend. You will never get out. I'm telling you. Let's go. Let's get some mathematical knowledge. Let's get some divine knowledge. Let's be celibate and let's understand the things of this world. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Stay radiant. Ciao outside. Woo!